Definitely looking forward to shooting this video to break down another pair, but I first want to start out just talking about mindset. I know I've mentioned in previous videos that I'm going to be bringing some of this content to you. Um, Mindset in trading is 90% of the game. Um, it's so important to understand your emotions, to be able to regulate your emotions, to understand where you are personally, uh, to make sure that it doesn't impact your trading. So I'm going to talk about that for a minute. If you um, help grow the channel, like, subscribe, share the videos, it's all definitely appreciated. If you appreciate the content, leave a comment. Uh, what do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to see more of? Definitely do that. Greatly appreciate all that you guys do for me. Um, so mindset is not just how you think about a situation, but also how you respond and how you don't respond to situations. So in trading, literally everything that you do, whether it's in your personal life, with your family, with your friends, um, all of those experiences have an impact on your psychology and how you see things. So if you're experiencing some stressful situations outside of these charts that we look at on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, that stress can translate over to your trading, can lead to um, over trading, can lead to shifts in your risk management um, because you're putting pressure in these different areas. So one of the things that I challenge you to do is look at your trading plan, evaluate it, and track how many times you move away from that trading plan. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as you prepare to enter a trade, take an assessment of yourself. How do you feel? Or do you get anxious when you prepare to enter that trade? Do you feel scared when you prepare to enter that trade? If so, why? Where is that emotion coming from? Being able to understand your emotions and your thoughts at every point in the trade is extremely, extremely important, because a lot of times if you haven't prepared enough, you're going to be scared going into the trade. That could lead you to either overtrade or jump in and out of a trade, which ultimately can cause you to lose money because that throws off your risk management and your risk to reward ratio. So take an assessment of how you feel when you enter a trade. What are the emotions? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? The third thing is take an assessment of, after that trade starts moving, right? Do you go into drawdown? How do you feel when your account is in drawdown of any amount? Do you get anxious? Do you want to pull out of that trade? Why do you feel that way? Right? Because if you follow your rules, then that reduces the risk. So you'll be able to walk yourself through the thought process and say, okay, I followed all of my rules. I know my rules are valid. I know they work. Not everything is going to go your way. Markets do whatever they want to do. So if I follow my rules step by step, then I know if a trade doesn't go my way, I know it wasn't a bad trade. The market just moved in a different direction. Then as the trade does start to move in your favor, how do you feel? Right? Do you get excited? Do you get anxious? Right? If that trade goes in your favor and then starts to pull back, how do you feel? Do you feel anxious? Are you concerned about this pullback coming back too far and taking you out of the trade? Or do you understand where that trade is going, and do you trust your analysis? Then how do you feel as the trade starts to approach your take profit? And then you go to close that trade out. How do you feel? All right, so understanding your emotions in your thought process through every stage of a trade is extremely important, and it'll help you to manage your emotions. And you'll be able to take an assessment and say, okay, is this real, or is this me just making the fear up? Because a lot of times in life, we do that, right? We place these labels on experiences. They're scary, they hurt, and all of these things we feel. However, we then transpose that to every single experience that could be like that last one. And a lot of times that'll keep us from experiencing different things and expanding ourselves, expanding our minds to help us grow, to become the person that we should be becoming next. So take an assessment. Take an assessment of where you are. Think about how you feel in each trade. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. Tell me how you felt when you take your next trade. Tell me how you felt as you went through that trade. What emotions you identified, and how you then responded. Check it out and let me know what you guys think. Managing your mindset, again, is extremely important in trading, but it's also extremely important in life. So my mission with this channel is to really provide value, not just when looking and analyzing charts, but understanding mindset, understanding how we can individually grow and help each other grow to become our best self. So again, like, subscribe, share. We're going to hop into breaking down this pair, US dollar, Canadian dollar. Been watching this pair for a little bit, been watching the DXY as it's been moving. It's been kind of erratic over the past 5 or 6 months. So I want to take a look at this. There may be some opportunity. We're just going to mark it up from a naked chart all the way through. And then we're going to take a look at briefly a tool that I use that also gives me some confirmations and some possible trade setups. So let's hop into the markup. So as usual, right, we're going to mark out our support and resistance. So we'll go over to the tools and we'll grab our array. And we have price bouncing off of this area here, right? And you see this is a level of support. And if you look to the left, we have other areas of confirmation here, right? So got an area here. If we can get that right. Right. We'll duplicate this. Clone. Right. And if we drag this, got another area here. Right. Still in that same zone. And we got another area over here. Still in that same zone, right? You see this wick comes down and grabs that. So when marking out support and resistance, we want to make sure that we look left to identify additional areas that give us confirmation of these zones that we end up marking out, right? And so we'll take our resistance. So this is our long term. Oh, let me label this. So this is, we're on the weekly chart here. So again, I have the labels mapped out so that I don't have to go back and update any of these labels, and saves time, right, and organization. So that's our weekly support there. And then this is our weekly high, right? And again, in our areas of support and resistance, we look for swing highs and swing lows. So this area technically is not a swing low. However, we do have the strong bullish candle right here on the weekly, right? But again, if we move this to the left, we still see that we have that confirmation here. We have it here, right? And again, this is a zone, right? So we'll go from the bottom to the top, but we have the most action right here where we have that support level. So we'll take that as our support, right? And again, swing lows and swing highs. So we have a swing low here, we have a swing low here, right? So a swing low again is identified as a 5 candle setup. You have your low point, and then you have 2 candles to the left and 2 candles to the right that are higher than that low point. Okay, and for our resistance areas, we look for a swing high, which is the opposite. So we have a high point, then we have 2 candles to the left that are lower, and we have 2 candles to the right that are lower, right? So swing lows and swing highs is what we're looking for as we're marking up our support and resistance areas. Okay, so we will drop this down to the daily. On the daily chart, let's see what we have. And you see, look at this area here, right? So we have that area, price touched, broke through a little bit, and here, price broke through, consolidated, and came right back above, right? And then here, price just runs right along and then bounces. Okay, so we'll look for our next swing low and swing high. So here, look at our resistance. I have this area here. Right, and all these wicks are all in the same area, but really a good swing high right here. This will be our daily resistance. Now we had an area that broke, right? So we're waiting on this area here to form. We have this as our weekly support. This will also be our daily support as well, right? And we can mark out this area here. This is our last swing low, right? 2 candles to the right, 2 candles to the left, and you see, so we'll mark this as intermediate support, because this is the next level that could change, right? But it was support here, and now you see prices bouncing off right here. So an area of resistance possibly. We'll see what price does, if it comes back down or if it continues up. So that's an intermediate support. We have our daily resistance there. And then we'll drop down to our 4-hour chart. And here you see that intermediate resistance, or the intermediate support. See its support here as well. We got a breakthrough, and then finally it breaks below, and then it becomes resistance, right? So past support, future resistance, past resistance becomes future support. So we got resistance here, right? 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, and then it falls, breaks down. So this is our 4-hour. So we'll take this area here, and again, we got touches all along here. This will be our 4-hour support. 4-hour support. And again, looking at this intermediate support area, that's definitely an area for us to watch. Our previous resistance area, again, these are just levels for us to pay attention to, would have been right here, right? We have price come down and then shift. So we'll mark this area out as well. We'll call it a 4-hour resistance. We still don't have a swing high here to map out yet, so we'll watch that. We can also, just for our next level, go here. We can call this a 4-hour resistance level also. All right, so that's going to be another level that we pay attention to, still within this zone. But we'll watch and see what price does and how it responds here. Then as we drop down to the 1 hour chart, we can see some more interesting things happening right now, right? So we have support level here. We'll take this one here, right? 2 candles to the left. This one only has one. It does have 2 candles there, but just to play it safe, we'll take this here as a 1 hour support, and it'll go into that zone there. And we do have a resistance area here on the 1 hour. Right, we have the swing high here. Right, price came up, touched, and bounced. That's our 1 hour resistance. So it looks like price is at an area where it's trying to make a decision, right? This area here gives us confirmation of this zone right here for resistance, and price is consolidating now. So we'll pull our fibs out, but just looking at what we have, we see that price came down, price moved down here, we got a little consolidation sideways, and then we got a breakdown, right? Broke below this low, and then price came up, and if you see, it just barely did it, but it broke this area of resistance right here, right? The intermediate support. Price did break through this. Now, in previous video, we talked about head and shoulder patterns and king's crown patterns. This could be a possible development of a king's crown pattern because it did break this proverbial neckline here. Okay, so it's something for us to watch. And if that does form and we get a break back below this intermediate support, we could see price travel down. But we won't complete that thought just yet. We're going to jump back out to the daily time frame and pull out our fib, right? Just to give us an idea of what's happening on the move down and the possible move back up. Again, you see we have these bullish candles right here, right, giving us an indication that price is shifting. So let's draw our fib here, right? We'll take it from our swing low to our swing high, like so. And on this, you see we got price almost gave us a double bottom here. Broke below the 88.6 retracement level, took back almost 90% of this move, or more than 90% of this move, right? So what this tells us, again, using the Fibonacci and Elliott wave theory, right? 88.6% move. We're looking at price to have the possibility to come up here this 1.27 extension on the Fibonacci. So what we do, we draw our trend lines, and we will start here on the daily just so that we can have this long-term trend line available for us. All right, we'll drop this here. Right, and again, our trend lines, we want to use it as a tabletop, right? So we start out and we drag it all the way down until we get a candle to touch, like so. And you see we got a break at this daily trend line here, which is really interesting. Really interesting there. So that definitely indication that price is shifting in its momentum. So we'll go to the 4 hour chart, shrink this down a little bit and see what we have. Yeah, look at here. Right, adjust this just a little bit so we get it clean. So we did. We got price to break this trend line here, and it's pretty strong. Pretty strong break here. So what we can do is we can draw a fib here to see if price has hit an extension. So we got a break in that outer trend line. Well, here, let's do this first. Sorry, let's let's draw an inner trend line here, just so we can see what price did and have a clean understanding of where we are, right? So this will be our inner trend line right here. Oh, drop that back there, like so, right? We got a touch right here. That's our next touch. It's on the 4 hour. If we drop down to the 1 hour, get a little more insight. Get a little more insight on the 1 hour. Let's see what we have. All right, shrink. All right, so we see that price touched, came down, and we could draw one more trend line here coming off of this area. And again, remember, our trend lines are diagonal support and resistance, right? So these are also support and resistance areas for us to pay attention to. We've gotten questions in the past, you know, our trend lines, do trend lines matter? And ultimately, yes, they do, right? Because again, diagonal support and resistance. And in this case, this trend line would not, it's too close here, right? So we wouldn't need this trend line here. Take that out. Okay. So if we look here, we see price came down. We got consolidation there, right? And it broke down below that low. And then it's starting to make its U-turn back up. So we have not gotten a retest of this trend line just yet, right? But it did break the 4 hour resistance area there. So it's a possibility that price could come back and retest this area before it makes its move back to the top. So I said we're going to grab our fib. All right, so we grab our fib, and this is on the 1 hour time frame. And we draw it out here, right? We can see what price actually did. So let's see here. So this is our A is here, our B is here, our B high, and then we got a pullback of 61.8. And then if you see what happened, right, price came up and hit the D extension, gave us another pullback again to the 61.8, and then pushed all the way up to the 1.618 extension, right? So this definitely hit the maximum D extension here. So we have our A, and if we shift this, right, shift this out here, give us our AB. All right, so this is now is our A, this is our B, and then this pullback here is our C, still within that 61.8 zone. And again, it's red to red, right? So 61.8, and that hit our D extension, 61.8, right? So price definitely exhausted there, hit the D extension. So we are looking for a reverse in price. Now, it could give us a shallow retracement, or it could give us a deep one. Generally, after price hits this extension, we look for retracement back to the 38.2 area. So if we extend this out, right, to give us our full AB move here, right, we'll look for price to come back to this zone here before it continues up. And we talked about the possible King's Crown formation here. So we had that consolidation, then we had a break below the previous low, right? Took out the low, came down, and then we got a bounce, and then we got a break of that neckline. So this is confirmation that if price does give us this pullback, which it could give us a double top and then pull back down, but if price does give us this move, we could be in for short term, be in for a short right here to the 38.2, which is confirmation going left to the support area here, 4 hour support resistance, and this shoulder that formed here, the left tip of the crown, We get a pullback here, retracement back to the 38.2 area. And if this area then holds, we could get price to then move up to this area. We could get a deeper retracement as well, right? Price could always come deeper. Could always come deeper to the 61.8. Okay. A lot of times we see reactions at the 38.2, but price could definitely come back down to the 61.8 before extending up. But anything that's in this red zone, we look for retracements of 38.2 or 61.8 to pull the trigger on a reversal. So that's what I'm looking for with U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, and one of the tools that I use is the Harmonic scanner with the IM Mastery Academy. And the Harmonic scanner, what it does is it scans the market for harmonic patterns. And these harmonic patterns are high probability setups, not guaranteed, but high probability setups. It gives you entries and exits and stop losses. So I use this in conjunction with my multi-time frame analysis to really give me an edge in the market. So I take my analysis here, I have this mapped out, then I take a look at the scanner and I see that the US dollar, Canadian dollar has a harmonic pattern that's formed. And so what I can then do is, right, same analysis. And so what I'm looking for on this trade ultimately is a break in the trend line. So what I do is I grab my ray tool. Where's that? I grab my ray tool and I draw my trend lines out just the same. All right, draw my trend lines out just the same, like so. And what I look for is a break in the trend line. Right. Once I get a break in the trend line, this is consolidation, so don't necessarily want to take that, but I can then come over here. All right, so we got a break on the upside for the Canadian dollar, but we're looking for a possible counter trend trade based on the harmonic pattern that formed. So what we can do is we'll pull our Fibonacci off, pull the Fibonacci off, and we'll draw our trend lines. All right, let's delete this. Let's delete this. But the harmonic pattern, the harmonic scanner is a phenomenal tool. Definitely gives an edge in the market. Ultimately, right, we want to have high probability setups that give us the greatest potential for profit, and being able to use algorithms to automate what we do to remove the emotion from the scenario, right? We talked about analyzing your emotions and your thought process. Using the harmonic scanner removes the emotion from the charts and just gives you what it sees. No emotion attached. So we can draw these counter trend lines, and we'll delete this for now. We can redraw those, right? But on this counter trend trade, we'll draw the trend lines here, and then we'll take trend line there. We'll bring that up on that touch there. So what we have here, right, comes up and touches. We don't want to cut off any candles or wicks. We know we have consolidation here, right? We did get the touch of the D extension, so we know price is exhausted, but we want to make sure that we get a break in the trend line. And we're going to drop down to the 15-minute chart here just to get a deeper look. Here. And with this, we can shift this trend line right there. Oh, drop down to there. So we see that we did get a break in the trend line. We got a D extension touch, and we got a break in the trend line, and we have consolidation. So we don't necessarily want to take a trade when it's in consolidation like this. We want to get confirmation that price is going to move in our favor, right? So what I'll do is I'll box this out, change this color here. I'll box this out so that we can wait to see what happens. All right, so we wanna get a breakout here. We got a break of the trend line. Didn't necessarily get a retest of it yet, right? But we did get the break here. Price did pull back slightly and then started to consolidate. So what we want to look for is a breakout of that consolidation zone. So what I would look to do here, I'm looking for a break and a retest on the downside here. Break and a retest. And if I get this break and retest and that holds, that's confirmation for me that we'll get this sell here, right? Just like we mapped out. Right? We can get this move all the way back down to that 38.2 zone, right? Which is in confluence with this 4-hour resistance support area here. Okay, so what I'm looking for, I'll go back to the 1-hour chart now, pull out my position tool. What I'm looking for once I get that breakout is a short on this pair. And I would set my stop loss just above the high, right? Give the trade a little room to breathe. And then I'm looking for this move here. This is the move that I'm looking for, right? And risk to reward, that's a 5-to-1. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. USDCAD. Sorry about that. That's it's a 5-to-1, right? I'm risking 32 pips for 200 possible 200 pip move, right, to the downside, and then we'll be looking for a price to then reverse, right? Because we said this is a possible King's Crown pattern. Oh, I drew that too far. My apologies. Not a 5-to-1, 2-to-1, 2-to-1. Right, coming down to this 4-hour resistance here, right, which is in confluence with the shoulder there. So 2-to-1 risk to reward setup. 65 pips, risking 30. If you can get 2-to-1, 3-to-1 risk to reward setups here, it's a win. It's definitely a win. So that's what I'm looking for, guys. And then once price really starts to move in my favor, we can just shift our stop loss, right? Increase our risk to reward ratio there. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term. And I am looking to see if this 4-hour area holds. If this area holds, I'm going to be looking for a buy on this pair and possibly all of our US dollar pairs. So that's what I'm looking at for US dollar CAD. Definitely think about those emotions. If you're going to take this trade, assess your emotions from beginning to end. How do you feel? What do you think? Manage those emotions and work towards removing the emotion from the trade, right? Remove the feelings from the trade and truly assess the charts for what they're telling you. And if we can get to the point where we're just taking price action for what it tells us and not how we feel about it, we can really start to gain some momentum in these markets, really start to increase our risk to reward ratio, increase the probability of positive movement in our trades, and ultimately preserve our capital, right? We can preserve our capital and be able to capitalize on that. So think about it, check out the chart, check out the markup, leave any comments in the comment section, like, subscribe, definitely let me know your feedback. I'd love to hear it. Yeah. Until next time, I greatly appreciate you guys' time, and look forward to seeing how this trade goes, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.